Smiley and Friends is the show that took the world by storm. Premiering in 2020, the show has 2 seasons consisting of 17 episodes that I love. Smiley and Friends has quickly become one of my favorite TV shows of all time, with humor that I love, and insane attention to detail, especially in the background, and a crazy unique cast of characters. My name is Kiefer, and welcome to my media center. Join me on the adventure of ranking every single episode of Smiley and Friends. I will give each episode a plot description, then at the end, rank them all from least good to the best. This is all my opinion, so if you disagree or do agree, please let me know in the comments. Tell me your favorite episode of Smiley and Friends or the ranking in order. So, let's get into this with Season 1, Episode 1, Desmond's Big Day Out. This works as a pretty good introduction to the characters and establishes early on references to semi-niche internet things. There's even hints of things to come later in the show, like a Mr. Frog drawing on the walls of Pim's childhood home. The comedy is crazy good, and the absolute change in vibes and energy when they enter Desmond's room is so jarring, it's amazingly done. The character designs are so distinct and vibrant, it's awesome. The main plot follows Pim and Charlie trying to trip a suicidal man and making him smile and failing time and time again. Only for him to smile when the main plot merged with the B-plot. The B-plot being Allan trying to find out what he thinks is a mouse that stole his piece of cheese, and indeed was not a mouse, it was a Blibby, a small bright pink murder machine. Desmond smiles when he walks into the office and shoots the Blibby that stole Allan's cheese, and he starts his own Blibby pest control business. Also, Allan got crucified and stabbed by the Blibbies. Great pilot. Season 1, Episode 2, Mr. Frog. Mr. Frog, the beloved star of record-breaking hit show Mr. Frog, is being cancelled. He put a TMZ report in his mouth for 7 minutes. While he remained unharmed, Mr. Frog was tragically kicked off his own show, and the studio is looking to continue the show, but replace him. Charlie loves that show, so Mr. Boss recommends Charlie and Pim, who have never seen the show, go make him smile. The B-plot follows Gleb auditioning for the Mr. Frog show, and he gets a spot after spitting in the producer's face, and is made the new Mr. Frog. The Smiley Friends go to Mr. Frog's mansion, and talk to Mr. Frog and recommend him apologizing, but he just isn't sorry. Charlie has the idea to help him repair his image, and they go to work on that. Mr. Frog does a meet and greet, which goes terribly when Mr. Frog chokes a fan, so they try another method. Mr. Frog gives a $1 million check to the Meat Foundation, but when he tries to hand the lady the check, he accidentally cuts her hands off with the check. They make the decision to get Mr. Frog off drugs, and Charlie puts him on sleeping pills. In the last-ditch effort, they put him on Jimmy Fallon. That goes very wrong when live on air he says a slur. But enough of that, it's time for the new and improved Mr. Frog show. The live crowd absolutely hates it, and Mr. Frog bursts in front of everyone on camera and apologizes. So the producer cuts him off, so Mr. Frog eats him alive and the world goes wild. Mr. Frog is once again a beloved star worldwide. Season 1, Episode 3, Shrimp's Odyssey. Y'all best be texting Smorwood with 555-0100 be the next smiling friend. Charlie and Pim go to an apartment of a shrimp whose heart is broken in half. But first, I need to point out the awesome details in this room. Shrimp is a total gamer with figures of Not Jonesy and Not Peely from Not Fortnite, and Shells also has some more figures, which might be referencing other things, I'm not sure. He has Not Funko Pops on his wall of Not Master Chief and Mr. Frog, and one other that I'm not totally sure of. A totally not Pokemon poster, some more figures, but mainly merch from Mouse Quest 2. His room is dark and a total disaster, and Shrimp realizes he never truly appreciated his ex and he wants her back. Pim goes to find Shrimpina, his ex, but Charlie believes that he doesn't need his ex, he needs to get his life together. His ex works at a coffee shop, and when Pim sees her, he is stunned with her beauty. We also get an amazing cameo from Chills doing his number 15 bit. Pim gets her to meet with her secret admirer, Spaghetti Disco, and when Shrimpina says the same thing about Destiny that Pim said earlier, he vomits all over himself out of nervousness and runs away. Charlie, in the meantime, takes Shrimp clothes shopping, but when he shows off his clothes, Charlie puts out, let's just say, you don't want to turn up to school if he's there. Charlie then takes him to get tan, but he only ends up cooking himself. Charlie lastly decides to take him to a gym to become an alpha male like himself. He ends up with 100 pounds crushing down on his neck. Pim then lays at night, dreaming about himself and Shrimpina getting married and having kids, when Charlie calls and he asks how the dating's going. Pim lies, saying she wasn't interested, and Pim shows up to the date himself, but when he sees Shrimpina, he goes to confess. But Charlie and Shrimp are there. Pim takes her to see Shrimp, but it turns out Pim went to the wrong place and this girl's name is Jennifer. But things turn out okay because Jennifer says Shrimp is everything she's ever dreamed about, and the two just go on at it, just full on tonsil tennis, mouth-on-mouth action. Season 1, Episode 4, A Silly Halloween Special. We open up with a cool live action shot, talking all spooky. I love when these are in the episodes, it really makes the show stand out even more than usual. But my favorite part of Halloween episodes are seeing the costumes. Pim is a cowboy, Allan's the Joker, Charlie doesn't dress up because he doesn't want to get cancelled in the future for wearing something that's not offensive now, but it turning offensive later on. And his girlfriend is a stripper mouse. Just then, Mr. Boss walks in dressed as Charlie Brown and says the party's gonna be cancelled if they don't get firewood. Pim volunteers and go to get some, but he has to go into the spooky woods and gets warned, do not cross the rickety bridge. Pim, of course, does not listen because a cowboy's gotta do what a cowboy's gotta do. He gets firewood, but when it starts to rain, it washes off all his trail markings that he made. Pim gets lost and falls down a mountain into a river, and he ends up washing up on land again. He runs into a cabin, his phone is completely ruined, and he starts to go a little crazy. And then the door handle starts shaking, so he scrambles to climb through the chimney and escape whatever's chasing him. The monster catches up to Pim, but he shoots him in the eye with his toy gun, holding it off long enough so he runs back into the Smiling Friends office. And when he runs inside, the party's going on, and the demon is taking it back when he doesn't scare anyone there. Partygoers put him on blast, start recording him, thinking he's in blackface, and tears him limb from limb, and people tear his stomach open, eating his guts and set him on fire. Charlie remarks that's why he doesn't dress up, and we end with another awesome live action sequence. Season 1, Episode 5, Who Violently Murdered Simon S. Salty? Pim and Charlie coming out of a movie theater and decide to go to Salty's. Charlie's been going there since he was a homunculus, and Simon and his salty friends' fast food has been deemed a massive health hazard, killing 15 in just 4 months. Sadly, now Salty's has to serve healthy food now because of the FDA, and unfortunately, they're no longer serving Charlie's favorite food, the Salty Delight. When Charlie goes to talk to the owner, Simon S. Salty, they discover that he has been murdered. It is up to Charlie and Pim to solve the case. The suspects are ketchup, mustard, salt, pepper, Crazy Cup, and the Fun Twins. Pim and Charlie do interviews. We discover multiple employees all have reason to be upset with Simon, and the mustard as they're trying to smash Charlie, but Pim interrupts. Charlie thinks it's the cup, and when Pim tries to find something for his arm after the Crazy Twins spat acid on him, he finds a secret room. Inside is the Century, taken off the menu by Salty. The egg kept a camera in Salty's office, and now we know what actually happened. Ketchup stabbed Salty, then Salt and Pepper drained all of him of his blood. Next, the cup drugged him, and the Fun Twins stabbed him more. Mustard snapped his neck. And then we go all the way to the start of the tape. Salty actually died from a heart attack after eating his own food. The insane mascots are free to go on a murder spree rampage. Season 1, Episode 6, Enchanted Forest. This episode has a dark story behind it, and we will get to that soon. The princess of the Enchanted Forest hasn't been able to smile for her royal portrait, so Charlie and Pim are sent to make her smile. They got offered multiple quests, but Charlie turns them down, but Pim really wants to do one. His dad never let him as a kid. And when Charlie's hat gets stolen by a witch, they go on a quest to get it back. They end up getting kidnapped but get saved by Mip. Mip was also headed there, so the two tag along. Charlie becomes a hero, saving a tree from a dying Splinter, and they go on multiple quests. Charlie becoming a massive hero, saving lives and ending wars. All while Pim gets nothing and becomes very jealous and upset by this. Mip needs a hero to deliver the package, and he finally found a hero in Charlie, the two almost kissing but deciding to go to sleep instead. Pim tries to steal the package from Mip, and when Charlie tries to get it back to him, the box flies into Mip and he falls into a spear. Mip dies and he gives Pim his final quest, saying Pim can claim the package for himself. So when Charlie and Pim go to the princess, they give the box to the princess. And Pim tells the princess the box is from Mip. Turns out Mip is the princess's stalker and why she can't smile. She's already had to move twice because of him. And when she opens the box, it was a bomb and she throws it away. The plot of this episode being inspired by the Bjork stalker incident from 1996. When a crazed fan mailed an Icelandic singer a bomb and then offed himself. And anyway, Season 1, Episode 7, Frowning Friends. The Smiling Friends are in the break room hanging out, Glep solving a cube. And they haven't gotten any calls today. It's really odd. Then they hear a lot of noise outside and see right across the street is a giant blue frowning face, gnarly and grim, the opposites of Pim and Charlie. They tell Mr. Boss about this and he gets a very serious look in his eyes. It's terrifying. He says he's just friendly competition, so Pim and Charlie leave. They find a SoundCloud artist who is upset no one likes his music, and he says that he recognizes them. Grim and Gnarly were here and told him to quit. He tries to shoot Charlie and Pim, but Charlie gets the gun away from him. This happens again and again. The bizarre version of Pim and Charlie have seemingly gotten to everyone. The Frowning Friends are trying to put them out of business, and Mr. Boss has lost $2.4 billion after the Frowning Friends moved in. So, it's time to take matters into his own hands. He goes to the thinking room in his attic, and he does what he should have done from the start. When the Frowning Friends are on their balcony, shouting mean words at people, convincing more people to join their cause, the Frowning Friends even stole Allan and Glep because they have a better 401k. When Grim reveals his real motive is to kill every Puerto Rican on Earth, the masses decide not to follow him anymore. But he gets thrown back on board and he just says mean stuff again. Mr. Boss gets behind them with his gun, and he's about to kill Grim and Gnarly. Grim begs for his life, showing everyone he does care about life, and he loses the masses again. Mr. Boss spares his life, but the Frowning Friends get killed when they are shot with arrows because the Renaissance men are in town. Yay! Season 1, Episode 8. Charlie dies and doesn't come back. It's Christmas Eve and everyone in the Smiling Friends is in this festive spirit. Everyone but Charlie. Mr. Boss needs a Christmas tree for his office and he sends the Smiley Friends to go get one. But Pim is really getting affected by Charlie's mood, and the two argue about his constant negative attitude, and Allan finds in a tree. Charlie, in his bad mood, chops down the tree just to spite Pim, and the tree falls on him, crushing him to death. Charlie is down HE double hockey sticks. But Satan is down to the dumps down here, and hell is not what it used to be. Lots of budget cuts in hell, so Charlie goes to cheer up Satan. Everything is covered in snow and ice, and Charlie finds his grandma in hell. She's there because she said damn once. Charlie goes on an adventure in hell trying to find the devil, nearly dying multiple times, but he makes it to Satan. And he's there playing on his desk, playing Ark in his messy room, very sad and very overwhelmed. But then he gets a Salty's order from not Uber Eats, and sadly, Salty forgot the straws, so out of stress, he gets his vape. Charlie suggests eating healthy, so Satan tortures him, making him smile for the first time in a long time. Since Charlie made Satan smile, God saves Charlie, God being voiced by Gilbert Godfrey, and as for going on Earth, Charlie gets set back down and reunited with his smiling friends. All this is a story being told by Old Man Gleb to his grandson. The Season 1 finale, Season 1, Episode 9, The Smiling Friends Go to Brazil. Allan, Gleb, Charlie, and Pim got a 2-week vacation and they decided to go to Brazil. I hope you like the airport because the whole episode takes place here. But turns out Pim forgot to book the hotel, and Pim thought Allan booked it, and everyone argues. They get a reservation for a table at the airport, but there's a wait. Pim calls the hotel to double check, and yes, he did forget to book it. Turns out the hotel is full, and the airport is absolutely packed as well. It's Mardi Gras. And the wait is over, so they finally get their table, and Pim suggests they just look at pricier hotels. It's likely those aren't booked out, but everyone is hesitant, and Pim suggests getting the boss to help out, maybe pay for it as a tax write-off business trip. Charlie really doesn't want to drag the boss into this, and everyone gets into a fight again. Pim gets highly defensive, saying he's getting ganged up on, making things worse and worse for himself, and that's when the waitress gets back, and there's a very awkward pause. Allan finally calls Mr. Boss, and it gets even more awkward, and Pim just apologizes. Charlie says price-wise, the best thing is to just fly back, so they do just that. Also, there's plane crash in the background. Season 2, Episode 1, Wimbley, Definitive Remastered Enhanced Extended Edition DX 4K Anniversary Director's Cut. Charlie and Pim are walking back to the office when they see Allan spraying Wimbley with dirty groundwater. Pim recognizes him right away, saying he played his game all the times as a tadpole. Wimbley does his iconic victory dance, and all of a sudden, he gets a cameo request. Allan says he will help Pim make Wimbley smile, and we get a Pim and Allan adventure. The B-plot following Charlie helping a quick-to-anger, very angry man smile. Allan and Pim go to Wimbley's old game company, demanding he get a new game, and they meet with the CEO, who is the exact corporate, stupid, greedy businessman you would expect. Wimbley's the face of this company, but the CEO has a new pet project he's been creating named Troglor. He says at most he can make Wimbley a new skin in the Troglor game, but only is if he kisses his gross chicken nugget. Pim, Allan, and Wimbley leave to make their own game, but Charlie's having even worse luck. He's dressed up like a maid now, doing everything he can to make this douchebag smile. So instead, he rips off Charlie's nose. The solo game creating is not going well. The arch rival being a family man now, and his sidekick turns out overdosed on fentanyl. Everyone ends up back at the Smiling Friends office, and Charlie's abuser ends up killing the CEO. Troglor, Wimbley, and other game characters all end up in a brand new fighting game, even Mr. Boss who's in the game, who freaks out having a breakdown, ending the episode in absolute panic. Apart from the real ending where James, aka the freak murderer from earlier, breaking down in his room crying over a picture of Charlie, lamenting about how he pushed away Charlie just like everyone else in his life. Season 2, Episode 2, Mr. President. The presidential election is absolutely heating up, and there's discussion going on at the Smiling Friends office. Charlie is not very excited about this. He doesn't like talking about politics, and he doesn't think voting matters at all. But Mr. Boss walks in and says they have a new assignment to make the president smile. The president in question is essentially a Chris Chan impersonator. I do not have the time to get into that wormhole. Let's just say I have sank hundreds of my own hours into this, and I know way too much about this man. That poor PlayStation. The president accidentally launches a nuke trying to get napkins, and he complains about trolls. He wants to prove that he isn't a fluke, and to finally accomplish something in his life. So Pim gives him a pep talk. And since it's only a two-man race, it should be fairly easy, until Mr. Frog enters the presidential race. Pim suggests he gives a speech to rally America, and he ends up shitting himself on stage. Mr. President then sends America on a massive economic spiral, giving every American $1 trillion, and then demanding they give it all back. Pim suggests a new foreign policy plan. The president was supposed to condemn a war criminal dictator who wiped an entire race off the planet. So of course he mistakenly endorses him. He's projected to lose every single state, so Charlie bails and ends up getting lost in the White House, accidentally discovering a secret society. He finds out the voters do not actually matter. A secret worm group who runs the news actually chooses the president. But when Charlie tells them about Mr. Frog's TV show, he ruins the election, making the worms change side and confirms the win for the current president to get another term. They make sure he wins the debate no matter how awful his speech was, but Mr. Frog ends up winning somehow, because Gleb voted for Mr. Frog being the one vote to secure his victory. Season 2, Episode 3, Allan Adventure. We see Allan wake up at 6 AM sharp, shower, brush his teeth, put on his contacts, and completely blow off his one-night stand from the night before. When he goes to leave for work, his landlord rushes him, asking him to smoke weed, drink diet soda, and play Burnout Revenge for the PS2, which I don't know about you, but sounds like a killer time to me. Allan rejects him and rides his scooter to work. Allan's job today is to get Mr. Boss's paperclip for a special reward. He gets into an argument with an asshole at the office crap store. When the manager comes around, he says they're all sold out of paperclips, but the computer repair shop in Crimeville might have some. He gets the paperclips for free after helping the owner, but when he leaves the store, he gets his paperclips stolen. We get an awesome action scene here with helicopters, jets, and missiles, and eventually Allan ends up in the woods with Bigfoot stealing his paperclips. Allan steals them back from Bigfoot's cave and accidentally restores an ancient pirate's body, who in the process decapitates Bigfoot and steals the paperclips. While chasing them in the ocean, they get eaten by a giant sea creature, and Allan stabs his insides and gets blown out and washed up onto the shore with paperclips. But inside the box, instead of paperclips, it's a letter telling Allan to go to his apartment building, to his landlord's room. Everything that has happened to him today was planned by using actors and animatronics, costing the landlord $750,000 in 8 months of planning. The landlord demands they smoke weed, drink diet soda, and play Burnout Revenge for the PS2, and he does it because the landlord has a bomb strapped to his chest. Allan uses the paperclip to defuse the bomb, so the landlord goes out the samurai way, and Allan heads back to work. The reward is a miniature version of the boss that he doesn't want, so Charlie takes it. Mr. Boss clearly upset with this, making everyone uncomfortable. Season 2, Episode 4. The boss finds love? The smiling fans are at the boss's wedding. Charlie is drunk doing knife tricks when the bride walks down the aisle, Brittany, and she looks like a demon and scares everyone in attendance. The next day, Charlie is so hungover, walks into the office to see completely redecorated. Charlie and Pim get called up to the boss's office, who seems completely off, saying their smiley friends are over. They're now Brittany's beautiful demonic flowers. Gleb is already working on a garden at the boss's house, and the smiley friend's last job is to make Brittany smile. They do it, and Mr. Boss and Brittany are off to celebrate their honeymoon. Allan comes in with a coffee he waited 2 hours for, but the couple already flew through the roof. We go to Charlie's apartment, and Pim is reading a journal from Gravity Falls. Also, he finds something worth mentioning. The boss's wife is in the book. She's the daughter of Satan, and her goal is to give everything she gets to Satan. They need to kill the boss's wife, so they look up a video on YouTube how to do it. And we get a cameo from the Nostalgia Critic, who says they need to drain her blood on a full moon. So, Allan drives Charlie and Pim to the boss's house, and when they try to kill her, she gets all upset they were being mean to her, jumps out of window onto Gleb's fleshy, planted black roses, killing her. With her dead, the boss now owns 1/4 of hell and gets to do a debate with Satan over property lines. Season 2, Episode 5, Brother's Egg. Mr. Boss has an exciting job for Pim and Charlie. They get to help Jared Fogle. Nah, the boss is just joking with them. Their real job today is helping a scientist smile. Professor Psychotic needs help and has been trying to grow a homunculus and needs their help in his lifelong mission of creating life. Just then, his brother barges in, degrading him and telling him to get a real job and to be quiet. Then he kicks out Psychotic, who has no place to go. Charlie takes him to a restaurant, trying to get him to talk to women, and it just goes horribly wrong. So Pim goes to his brother's job, trying to convince him to give his brother another chance, but he tells him the story of how their mother died, and he blew all of his inheritance on that lab. Pim and Charlie arrange a meeting between Doug and Professor Psychotic. We found out Doug has been addicted to painkillers and takes them because of Professor Psychotic. The two start a fight, and while they're in the lab, one of Psychotic's eggs hatch. He did it. He created a homunculus life. Doug and Professor Psychotic dedicate their life to raising the homunculus. Season 2, Episode 6, Charlie, Pim, and Bill versus the Alien. Pim is taking Charlie to a party out in a wheat field in his UFO hunting group. They sit around a fire looking at the sky for UFOs. They've never actually seen one, and Charlie is not a fan of being here. Bill, one of the people, brings out what he thinks is an alien device, but Charlie knows it's just a theremin and he plays it, summoning a UFO that takes Pim, Charlie, and Bill. Bill got eaten by aliens. When Charlie and Pim wake up, they find out that the aliens that abducted them just got abducted. The UFO they're on now is a massive party ship. They have to prove they're not squares, so they get all messed up on alien narcotics, breaking space equipment, having a massive, massive trip. But now they want to go back home, and the only way to be taken home is if they blow up one of the oldest and most populated planets in the galaxy. When threatened with eternal damnation and torture, they do it. But it's just a prank, no one lives there, the ship can only go one way, so there's no way they're getting back home. But then the space cops show up. Charlie steals the keys of UFO and manages to fly away just in time, and as they get closer to Earth, they find out Earth is completely flat and entrapped in a glass dome. They decide to take this to the grave and tell no one. Season 2, Episode 7, The Magical Dread Jewel, aka Tyler Gets Fired. Mr. Boss has let one of them go, and he fires Tyler, the perpetual off-screen Smiley Friends member. But there is good news. Mr. Boss is going to Spamish, which Spam speaks little of. He also gives his 18-year-old son, Jason, to Charlie, Glep, and Allan to look after. Jason, just out of nowhere, dies on Allan and Charlie, who have past issues. Charlie claimed Allan sucked on his nose once, which Charlie wasn't cool with. Allan has no memory of this, but yeah, Jason died. He's done. Pim had a pen pal named Oscar from Spamtopia, and there's only one rule: no eye contact. The whole reason Mr. Boss is going here is by a red jewel from Mr. Jester. Pim breaks this one rule when Mr. Jester I start bleeding from a mosquito. Meanwhile, Allan and Charlie get into a very racy, heated physical fight over Jason. Pim and Mr. Boss are about to be executed, Mr. Boss pressuring Pim to take cyanide, but as Pim is about to be ripped in half, He says a Spanish prayer only one person knows. The executor and king here, Oscar. Oscar lets him go and declares there are no more rules in Spamtopia, sending the nation to anarchy and mayhem. When everyone is back in the break room, Allan breaks the news to Mr. Boss, who uses the red crystal to bring back Jason, who turns into a magical butterfly. So beautiful. We go back to Tyler in a bar with Charlie, where Tyler says he's just gonna focus on his music. You go, Tyler. We believe in you. And lastly, the Season 2 finale. Season 2, Episode 8. Pym finally turns green. It's winter time. Glep and Charlie build an ugly snowman, which Allan degrades them for. Pym adding a flower on top, which brings it to life. Turns out the flower was a flower grown in Mr. Boss's toxic waste. Charlie, Glep, and Allan leave to go do their own stuff, which leaves Pym to teach Rotten the Snowman about life. They end up going on a winter montage and end up on a park bench. Rotten the Snowman wants to go to the beach, and Pym has to tell him that if he goes there, he's gonna die. This makes Rotten scream all night into the next day. But they have the perfect idea. Charlie's uncle, Bill Nye the Science Guy, who dies in a horrific electric explosion. Allan suggests they take him to a place that is going to be cold forever, which everyone praises the idea for. Rotten is screaming, is taken back to the mountains. Rotten is still screaming, is taken to the mountains. When he finds out maybe in a few million years that he might die because of the melting, he screams again. But a Yeti brings back Rotten because they dropped off Rotten and what they didn't know was his private property. Rotten then starts to melt, which Pym is very upset about, so Glep gets the idea of putting Rotten in the freezer. We have a 6-month time skip, and it is now the 4th of July. The Smiling Friends are visiting a beach, and they take Rotten the Snowman with them in a cooler. That gets knocked over, and Rotten this time accepts death, melting into the ocean. But this time, he becomes the ocean. He can now truly live forever. So, now that I've gone over every single episode of the show, let's get to the rankings. Remember, Smiling Friends is a show that I believe has 0 bad episodes. That's why it's least good to the best. The least good is still funny, still makes me laugh, and I still find it enjoyable. Starting from the bottom to the top. Number 17, The Magical Red Jewel, aka Tyler Gets Fired. Number 16, The Boss Finds Love. Number 15, Charlie, Pym, and Bill vs. the Alien. Number 14, Frowning Friends. Number 13, Pym Finally Turns Green. Number 12, A Silly Halloween Special. Number 11, Enchanted Forest. Number 10, Brother's Egg. Number 9, Mr. President. Number 8, Desmond's Big Day Out. Number 7, Shrimp's Odyssey. Number 6, Mr. Frog. Number 5, Who Violently Murdered Simon S. Salty. Number 4, Charlie Dies and Doesn't Come Back. Number 3, A Allan Adventure. Number 2, Wimbley, Definitive Remastered Enhanced Extended Edition, DX4K Anniversary Director's Cut. And number 1, my favorite episode of Smiling Friends, The Smiling Friends Who Go to Brazil. That is my ranking. Let me know down below in the comments if you agree or disagree. Let me know your list, let me know your favorite and least favorite episode. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the YouTube stuff. Look in the description for my links to Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, etc. Buy the merch. And don't forget to stay hydrated.